Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for being here. Today matters a lot. This communications event is very important, and for the first time during the event, I will walk you through the entire or whole Minutes Network in one sitting. Every product that we have launched, everything launching this quarter, and how each piece feeds the next piece, and why the whole system compounds. Some of you have already heard some of what I'm about to say in passing, and today you get you know to understand the entire flow as the system compounds. Packet exchange, talk time for the first time, and stay to the end because there's one more thing that's never been mentioned anywhere, not even once, and tonight it will be announced. I expect today's communication event to take around 1 hour or slightly longer. One piece of housekeeping before we begin. We're not taking questions in this show because it will make the show too long. So this evening is for talking about what we're doing properly, start to finish. Keep your questions coming in on social media as they occur to you, because on Friday we will hold a full AMA where we'll take all of the questions and give them the answers they deserve. So let's begin with no further ado. Every international call you have ever made, or anybody who you are related to has ever made, crosses a hidden layer of this industry that's barely talked about anywhere. Nobody's really seen this hidden layer. There's very few people that work. If you look at the population of the world, there are not that many telecommunications specialists that deal with routing out there. A wholesale layer of carriers, brokers, intermediaries tiered inside a global telecoms market worth about $2 trillion in total. Of course, there are segments of that market, and that layer's barely changed in decades. Okay, it's a slow, opaque, expensive, crowded with intermediaries and middlemen, and it persists not because it works, but because nobody's ever rebuilt it from first principles. Minutes Network exists to do exactly that in software from the ground up. And of course, this is not a proposal. We are running live wholesale voice, call center voice, SMS across 25 plus countries today on our own proprietary technology, backed by the 3,000 partner operated nodes. So tonight, I'll walk you through each product, the ones that have already launched and the ones launching this quarter, and I'll show you how they lock together into one compounding system, as I mentioned. By the end, you will hopefully see what we see, everything coming together all at once and picking up speed. So let me show you what we're up against, because the scale of the problem is the scale of the prize. The rates in this industry, rate sheets, the price of destinations, whether it's a voice call or an SMS, they still circulate as static A to Z decks in spreadsheets being passed around with no live view of quality behind them. They are literally static text. Carriers commit real traffic to routes they can't verify. They rely on that real traffic to then verify those routes and test simulations. Margins sit trapped in chains of middlemen. Disputes over call records drag on for months and years, because in the entire history of this industry, there's never been a shared source of truth, and none of the incumbents have any incentive to build one. They're doing just fine without it. Now, connecting two carriers, a job that should take minutes, still consumes weeks or months. NDAs, credit checks, test calls, manual configuration, manual error debugging, all of it through closed legacy software that resists automation by design. You have to understand that the world we live in today is a world being shaped by the technologies around us. Artificial intelligence is changing the world around us very quickly, I would say. And when this industry was, first brought to market, that didn't exist. So a market this large and this fragmented and this manual is not a fixture of the industry. It's the industry's largest unclaimed prize, and Minutes Network exists to claim it. We're going to take as much of this industry as we responsibly can. And tonight, you'll see how much of it we've already claimed and what we're going to do next. Our answer is simple to say and very hard to do. We utilize technologies that make things easy for us that might be very difficult for others. Uh, Build the lowest cost routes in the industry from the ground up, terminating traffic on the phones that already exist in people's pockets, and use AI to lift margins and call quality while stripping out the middlemen and broker fees and the management overhead that legacy routing carries. The rails are being replaced, guys, and whoever lays the new ones sets the terms for everyone who runs on them. So I'll talk a little bit more about the vision paper that we have being released on Thursday shortly. Uh, Minutes Network is not a collection of products. It's a single flywheel assembled from I would say, four forces that sharpen each other with every turn of that wheel. And before I go product by product, hold this picture in your head because everything tonight hangs off it, right? Minutes Network is, as I said, it's not a collection of products. It's a flywheel built from these forces. And force one is supply. Okay, Jingle converts opted in smartphones into HD termination endpoints. So a call lands at relatively, well, almost no cost. Force two, I would say, is growth. Hyperscaling obviously widens that endpoint base by design through partner applications, through the creators application that you've all heard about before, and through frequent callees being onboarded directly. Force three, I would say, is the margin. The revenue turbine reads the route's costs, it reads the quality and the margin targets continuously, and it blends every minute for the best possible profit and quality available. And force four, I would say, is the venue. We're introducing a venue called Packet Exchange. Packet Exchange is a telecommunications exchange. It's called Packet Exchange because it's protocol agnostic in the sense that there are many types of protocols that can be utilized on and by this exchange. We will be catering for data in the near future as well. It's going to be the place where the industry meets and interconnects on the same day and settles automatically. So each of these forces compounds the next, and every new endpoint lowers the cost of a landing call or a call that's being landed. That lets us hand our customers a better rate, and that better rate climbs their least cost routing tables, as we always said, and that wins more of their traffic and it reinvigorates their revenues in turn. So that loop is the company. It's already spinning. So let's talk about the engine behind this just briefly. We have 5 proprietary technologies that run this network in production today, and they carry the live calls that are taking place as I speak. And together, they are labeled as the Mintech suite of technologies. First of all, we touched on it briefly before. We've touched on it in the past. Let's have a short word on the revenue turbine. This is our pricing and optimization engine. It continuously analyzes route costs, quality metrics, margin targets, and it blends routes toward higher profit, higher quality, or any mix that the operator configures. That's not a predefined mix, that's a live mix that the output can be sort of shown before the mix is made, so you understand what you're dealing with as an operator. That AI, revenue turbine pre-calculates the outcome of every possible blend before a single call is routed, and it sends traffic down the most profitable path generally, or the highest quality one, whichever the operator has asked it to do. So, depending on the traffic type, the service levels, and the rates involved, that lifts the margin by tens of percents and sometimes more. Okay, we've all heard about the Flexible Connect before, the Mintech Flexible Connect. It's the interoperability layer, and it's the technology that lets us speak to any protocol, any network, any endpoint environment. It's the core technology underneath Jingle plugin, but it's completely protocol agnostic again, and integrates can terminate to whatever protocol they choose. If you would like to terminate, digitally to physical hardware, you can, and vice versa. It's a really flexible addition to our network, and this is really the basis of most of the things we do. Third, we've heard of the development sandbox before. It's the center of everything pre-production. We sometimes refer to it as the lab. We can bring traffic on and offline in sizable portions and prove new features against live traffic without disturbing major flows or without a single customer getting angry because you're trialing new technology. And that's how a network that never stops carrying calls can still ship a continuous stream of innovation. Fourth, you've heard of the rapid growth library before. It's the SDK that carries all of the connectivity inside Jingle plugin. It was built for one job and one job only, and that job is to provide rapid growth. It absorbs the user bases of existing applications whole and makes them available as peers on our scalable voice network. And fifth and finally on this topic, the AI knock. This one I'll spend just a moment more on. The AI knock is a conversational agent that operates the switches itself. It's not a chatbot bolted onto a help page. It carries 38 tools across reporting, customers, supply, rating, routing, invoicing, settlement, netting, fraud, and a number of different call flows. 19 of those tools actually perform actions and command the network. They are not information-based reporting tools. They are tools that actually make things happen on the network. So, we can tell it, put this carrier on the Mexico plan and invoice that customer in July as a sentence, not an afternoon in six screens with loads of configuration and different humans. It replaces all of that and it reads as fluently as it writes. It can resolve exactly how a number would route. I do apologize for my dogs, guys, in the background. With the ordered supplier chain, before a single call is placed, that is automated control essentially over large fleets of routes. In plain English, nobody else in the industry has anything close to this. And we've been testing this for a very long time. It does utilize the cutting edge AI that's available today. And we have made our own LLM that has been trained specifically for this purpose. So we actually avoid a lot of typical AI costs, but the AI knock is essentially a knock in a box, right? You can give it a real task you've asked in normal words, and it will tell you what it did and how long the same job used to take a human on legacy software. None of the existing competitor switches and products out there today, they don't have anything like this. And we'll dive into that in the near future. You'll see lots of communications about these elements and how they integrate into the exchange and what they do for the company and what they do for subscribers of the exchange's technologies. We'll talk about the packet exchange in just a moment. Now, the crown jewel, as we call it, the product that makes everything else possible, Jingle plugin. Jingle turns, some of you know, every phone already in people's pockets into carrier grade network infrastructure. And that's the whole system. Nobody in the world is doing this, not publicly. And it's a lightweight plugin that any application can embed. And we'll talk about applications in just a moment. We have some news on that too. It is opt-in, it's fair to the user, and it rewards the user with the rewards sitting under the integrating app owner's control. So the app owner can distribute those rewards to their users essentially however they would like. Gems in a game, rewards that can be withdrawn via local payment services, etc. And not to go too deep into Jingle because we actually have a session on Jingle very shortly, but I'd like to give you some updates as well. Traditional telecom traffic connects directly to Jingle enabled endpoints. And if they, where they exist and where possible, the call arrives as a direct HD connection, far superior in quality to a standard call. And for the network, the termination cost is almost zero, which is what makes it such a brilliant invention. And that almost zero changes everything. That cost, wins a carrier's least cost routing table outright. We can set any rate that we like for those specific calls. The more users we have, the more calls we can carry over Jingle, of course, whilst keeping a far higher margin than legacy termination ever could. So essentially, we we can win all of the traffic on specific destinations as Jingle grows, because Jingle lets us set the low rate profitably for us and for our provider. And for our traffic provider. And it reinvigorates all interconnect partners too. The companies sending us traffic, they get a low rate that breathes life back into their own revenues. I quote the ITU a couple of years ago. It's a breath of fresh air for telecommunications. Now, for app owners, this is a brand new revenue stream, as some of you already know. We offer a 50% share for including the lightweight plugin. And small apps combined make a lot of users. Big apps arrive with millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, of users on day one. Now, the maths of coverage is remarkable. With 5 to 10% of a country's population opted in, Jingle can land calls very easily in that country, perhaps sometimes less. And we've discussed this in the past. Multiple applications are, as you know, in the various stages of onboarding right now, across gaming, fintech, social utilities, right? Communication, e-commerce, etc., and more are signing up. We're seeing great progress with the new Jingle website. We have a new couple of ambassadors at Jingle, and we're actually seeing great traction as time moves forward. So every launch is backed by a dedicated integration engineer on our side. We really care for these customers or these partners in Jingle, and let me tell you about the immediate future, because this is very close. So we do expect an increase in the amount of users in Pakistan that are opted into Jingle in the coming week, and more in the weeks after that. As more frequent callees come online, faster and faster, and multiple large applications are being brought online with the Jingle plugin right now, within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we should see the first applications live in Pakistan. There are also influencers being brought online in Pakistan, each one bringing their audience via the Jingle Creators Program. This builds the telco user base in small and medium-sized blocks that all add together into one huge user base. When all of that lands, what you see today will be blown away by the numbers that follow. Now, hyperscaling. So integrations run at the application's pace, and of course we respect that. We are not just waiting. Hyperscaling is our second front. We bring users online to Jingle directly ourselves. One end of it is the Creators app. Artists, influencers, popular people anywhere in the world, celebrities, etc., can build their own branded mobile app online for free in minutes, or our team will build it for them. It includes their socials, their events, their videos, their music, all in one place. No advertising, automatically with their branding. Inside that application sits an outbound dialer. We do that to attract retail traffic, direct retail traffic to our own network. We charge fair retail prices, competitive with the well-known international calling apps that are out there today. And the economics for the creator are very simple. 50% of the traffic revenue landing on their phones through Jingle, and 50% of their revenue the fans spend on calling out through the dialer, both directions. A creator's fan base becomes an asset that pays them when it didn't pay them before. Now, if we look at islands like Jamaica, for example, there are not many people in Jamaica. There are 3-point-something million people in Jamaica today. And let's say that not all of them have a telephone. If we look at 5 to 10% of that eventual number, actually on board, Jamaica is an island of music and culture. So if you look at the amount of creators that are over there, and we've spent time in Jamaica on the ground. The team have been there. We have lists of artists that are waiting to go live with this application, and I can tell you that with the lists combined, we are looking at a serious market share over there. Now, the Creators app is in beta today, and it will have a full public release this quarter where creators can sign up via the website. We will be taking it to creators initially, but they can sign up via the website and create their own app and have it published. Now, the second element is the frequent callees. So where permitted, we look at the traffic and we work with local marketing agencies to find people who receive a lot of international calls. We make them a direct offer. We work with local, marketing partners on this, and we install a local app. You can earn withdrawable money for every minute of calls you receive, or make from compatible interconnects, or you can take free services you would normally pay for. Some of these users are worth a lot of money, so for us to give them, a free service they would normally pay for is a very good deal for us. It also increases the retention rates, and the churn, reduces. So every person who says yes becomes a Jingle endpoint under the frequent callees, and that's how we reach all of these valuable users at scale. And just as you heard, in Pakistan, this is happening right now. So moving forward, and I do think that in the coming week, we will have a dedicated communication session to Pakistan and Jingle, where we will share the updates. And I think by then, we could potentially see at least double or triple the amount of users that are online today. And we're talking about 7 days' time, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. We have a very big push in Pakistan right now. We're working with a lot of marketing agencies. We have a lot of partners on the ground that are, that want this to succeed, and they have an incentive too. Then moving forward, there's the retail edge, talk time. You might have heard me mention this shortly, briefly in our last communications. Retail calling has overcharged the people who can least afford it for decades. Talk time is our coming retail arm, and it exists to bring fair retail pricing to international calls for regular people. The advantage is structural, not promotional. Okay. TalkTime runs directly on the packet exchange as a sub account on our telecommunications exchange. And it prices itself dynamically off the exchange's constantly updated low cost curve. As routes are listed, prices are adjusted, and users of TalkTime have always, maintained access to the cheapest routes in the market. As it stands today, the retail sector, they have retail prices. We will be giving retail, the retail sector access to wholesale prices. Of course, we make a profit, but it's nothing like, the prices that are being charged out there today. Nobody buying wholesale minutes by hand can chase prices that move the way they do in the industry today. So every talk time call feeds the flywheel, and converting high cost retail demand into traffic carried by our own network. Of course, talk time is also pre-installed with Jingle plugin, and it's a proof piece as well for us. It demonstrates to our partners and the further audience that end to end, one wholesale customer on the packet exchange can run an entire retail business through the sub accounts functionality. What we do with talk time, any operator on the exchange can do with their own brand. One platform and potentially thousands of retail brands that can stand on top of it. As you know, we previously mentioned the full duplex API that supports every capability required to integrate applications for developers in the calling industry, and not at ridiculous prices like some of the APIs for developers out there today. So let's move forward. Traditional traffic. It's the very fuel that powers our proprietary technologies, right? It's what the revenue turbine optimizes. It's what hyperscaling feeds on. It powers Jingle. Today, live wholesale voice runs across 25 plus countries in the network. And as that traffic flows, the turbine blends it intelligently, and margins lift by, a decent percentage, very decent percentage, as that blend takes place. Every carried minute does the double duty. Live traffic is how we discover compatible endpoints and the people and the apps that could become Jingle terminations in the future. So more traffic means faster discovery of the next higher margin path, and the network grows the app, and the app lifts the network. So the strategy for us is quite simple. We grow traditional traffic as large as possible, and we carry as many minutes with a margin, of course, as possible. And we keep this for later at this stage in the conversation, because there is a way we are about to grow this dramatically faster. And that's part of tonight's announcement. It'll come at the end, and I don't think you want to miss it. Moving forward, we have Packet Exchange. It's the piece that we believe rewrites the entire industry. Packet Exchange, the industry's first instant AI native wholesale exchange, launches this quarter, specifically around September the 14th or 15th, for the first venue that we are exhibiting at. And it's a marketplace. There are no quote screens. Every route on the Packet Exchange is a real tested priced product with measured quality attached, with live answer rates, call durations, connection delay, from actual traffic. Sellers bring rate decks in whatever shape they have, Excel sheets, database, and they upload this information. The columns of the sheets are read for you. The deck is priced, and 30,000 rows of destinations in an A to Z sheet, for example. A to Z is, A to Z of countries. It's a global route sheet. Becomes about 150 per country, the products and buyers are actually searching for live on the marketplace. So underneath every call sits carrier grade detail. It's the full trace, per leg quality, and rating snapshots that prove why a call cost what it cost. In an industry where disputes genuinely drag on for months and years, this is the thing that ends disputes instead of starting them in the first place. Settlement clears in under 3 seconds. Verified call records across multiple currencies with native stablecoin settlement. Of course, we accept Bankwire, etc., credit card, alongside all of the other standard rails. So funds reserved before traffic flows, and compliance lives inside the product. Tax, VAT handling, KYC attestation. These are things that normally kill a wholesale deal, and they're already modeled in. So it's a whole desk. It's not a single counter. We have the wholesale exchange, including global connectivity, voice numbers, AI voice agents, smart routing, intelligent interactive blending with the revenue turbine. We offer numbers, DIDs direct in with dial numbers. We offer caller ID testing, SMS integrity testing, and verification. And we offer switch partitions. Switch partitions do indeed deserve their own focus here in this call. Any operator that can run their entire carrier business on Packet Exchange, customers, suppliers, rating, routing with failover, invoicing, settlement, bilateral netting, fraud screening, self-service portals. I mean, you name it, it's there. Sub accounts that turn one wholesale customer into a retail business. This is exactly how TalkTime runs, by the way. This is a feature set operators otherwise buy from legacy vendors for 6 figures plus per year, and it takes a very long time to integrate. Plus, they need a number of staff to run them, their systems. And the agentic layer, Packet Exchange ships with a live MCP interface, which means that any AI agent, Claude, Codex, Kimi, etc., can browse the marketplace, compare routes by capacity, and configure an interconnect without a human touching a screen or typing into any configuration windows or files. These AI voice agents carry real calls on the platform's own media path. Developers get a full telecommunications API suite, as I said previously, with least privilege scopes, webhooks, spend alerts, MCP integrations for the AI tools they already use straight out of the box. Very interesting for the developers' markets, and very interesting for the carriers' markets and call centers. When procurement becomes agent to agent, and it will, the venue with a machine interface wins the volume by default, and we already have one here. The economics are deliberately thin. We charge 2%, capped at 1/10 of a cent on API traffic and 0.5% on trunk-driven traffic. The switch partition subscribers pay no transaction fees at all under a certain amount of volume, and small enough that nobody routes around it. So, it's large enough to compound across the whole playbook. Now, the first true exchange this industry has ever had, and it is ours. The switch partition also starts at $2,500 a month, which is a extremely low cost for what we're offering, and packages go up to around $10,000 per month. And the wider industry, have not seen an offering at this price before of this quality. We do believe that we will, one by one, take a lot of carriers on board that would love to use these switching services. And of course, they are driven by the switch nodes and the validation nodes. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. So everything I've talked about tonight is running on infrastructure. I think we should talk about the switch and validation nodes. Now, they power the network switching capability from MNTX, including the packet exchange itself. Together, they carry up to 72 million minutes of voice per day, which is a lot of minutes. And the architecture is engineered to expand beyond that with further software optimizations, as we've said in the past. Alongside them, we have the 2,500 validation nodes from MNTX that continuously verify endpoints and are capable of monitoring call quality, network integrity, that makes sure every call meets and exceeds carrier service level requirements. They were designed for massive scale because validating the RGL, Rapid Growth Library connectivity, means verifying every single jingle endpoint consistently. This is partner operated deep in infrastructure. Node operators, can manage themselves or self-host, and the network runs on them, right? So more information will come out from Minutes Network Token on this, and the full details live in the white paper on the MNTX website. Now, the strategic assets that sort of anchor it all, okay? We secured a 20-year long distance and international license in Pakistan. That is the standing of a national long distance operator for 2 decades. We are bringing capacity onto it now, running as much traffic as possible over it, improving the margins consistently, and targeting as many users as possible, where possible, with Jingle in Pakistan. And Pakistan is the template, not the exception. You already know, we've done it again with our LDI in the Middle East, and we're not stopping there. More licenses are coming in more markets. That is the whole point here. We will keep building this infrastructure. Now, this play is deliberately repeatable. It follows a model that the industry has already watched work at enormous scale. Most of the cable operators that were rolled up into national giants in the US and other countries, will be copying. We'll be copying the same understanding here. We acquire the license, we roll them up strategically, and all the operators around it, VoIP networks, MVNOs, small, medium, large carriers, wherever they strengthen the Minutes network position. And then we improve the economics of everything we buy. We, drop on top Jingle and the revenue turbine, etc. And the proprietary technologies lift the margins. So we reinvigorate the revenues and route more traffic across the network. Each acquisition turns regulatory permission into durable infrastructure and growth. An asset that competitors can't copy, they can only apply for. And each operator folded in makes the next one more valuable. And the combined base compounds for Minutes Network. So consolidation is a growth engine in its own right. So we will own the ground, not just the routes, market by market, country by country. The ecosystem stops depending on the ground beneath it, and we start to own that ground beneath the ecosystem. So, okay, we can dive into more on this in the future. Let me move to the vision. So you might be asking, where does all of this go? Well, it's one destination, the largest telecommunications company in the world by user base. This isn't an aspiration bolted on at the end. It's the load the whole system was engineered to carry from the first line. It's the technologies that are designed to adopt user bases simply and easily. And everything tonight sort of resolves around that mechanism. Jingle converts phones into endpoints. The Rapid Growth Library and the Creators app, they add those endpoints by whole user bases at a time. Every endpoint lowers the cost of landing a call, it sharpens our rates, and climbs another carrier's least cost routing table, the LCRs, and draws more of the world's traffic onto Minutes Network. The user base is not a marketing figure, it's the physical infrastructure of the company, and it's extremely valuable. And we do not fight the legacy market, we rather arm it using the same technologies that take on today's switching and traffic markets, lower rates, better margins, higher quality. Fully AI integrated software that get handed to these incumbents to improve their own routes, their own revenues, and the existing industry becomes a channel, not an obstacle. So even our competition become customers. The targets are set. Jingle endpoints in, I don't know, 100, 120 plus countries, billions of app users onboarded, more than 72 million minutes of traditional traffic per day on switching capacity built towards, a much larger number with further software optimizations. Five traffic classes on one network, right? We're looking at wholesale, with a massive focus, call centers, tier one, tier two, tier three, SMS and agentic AI traffic, and of course, ownership of the industry's first instant AI native marketplace. The platform's built. What follows is acceleration. And on that word, acceleration, it's time for tonight's announcement. So I did tell you that there would be something announced tonight, and here it is. It's called the Accelerator. You have heard me say all, throughout communication events that traditional traffic is being built on the network. Well, it's the very fuel of this network. Every technology we build makes each carried minute worth more. So the single most powerful thing we can do is carry more minutes. And the accelerator will assist in that process. Here is what it is. The accelerator sells the network's wholesale capacity forward in bulk at the kind of rates only scale commitments unlock. Dedicated ports on live corridors carrying minutes from day one on the same production network that you've watched this whole time. Now, let's make this concrete and provide an understanding. The unit is a port. 30 ports make one E1, the standard unit of carrier interconnections, or T1, depending on which country you're in. And in practice, a port carries around 500 minutes a day. It can carry more, but if you calculate for the on-peak and off-peak, you are looking, with the ASR, the average seizure ratio included, you are looking at around 500 minutes a day as a conservative estimation. 15,000 minutes per E1 each day, and every allocation is dedicated to capacity on a specific destination at a locked per minute floor. Traffic then carries above that floor, and difference is the margin on every carried minute. So the accelerator allows you to own the capacity and keep the margin. None of the economics are lost in the Minutes Network's model. All of the traffic from the accelerator is shown on the Explorer, and all of the traffic powers the rest of the flywheel. Let's discuss that in a little bit more detail. Every allocation is additional capacity. It's provisioned new for the order. Fresh dedicated ports are added to the network, which means new traffic for the network visible on the Explorer, as I said. And the accelerator is literally how the network grows its footprint. So you choose how your capacity runs. It is a tangible product. There are two paths, one network. You can either choose to run it yourself. You get a full interconnection pack and you send your own termination traffic over your ports, exactly like a carrier would, because on this network, that is what you are. And if you have no equipment or you don't wish to use the packet exchange to do so, our cloud platform that is included with your capacity allows you to run it with no hardware at all, okay? Or you can elect for resale, and you can resell the capacity you hold into the wholesale market via Minutes Network, and your portal shows your traffic and your resale margin as it settles. Either way, The capacity answers to its owner. Traffic starts on your instruction. You can set your minimum sell rates. You can pause your traffic and resume your traffic. You can watch the minutes and the realized rates and the margin live in your portal. Now, it is bound in writing on every order. Every purchase of capacity is represented by a formal contract from Minutes Network directly, the mother entity, and it's executed by DocuSign. The contracts run for no less than 10 years, and the terms are outlined within the contracts themselves. A minimum of 10 years dedicated capacity on paper with the network itself as your counterparty. Either way, Minutes, the network, would not otherwise carry now run over it. This brings additional traditional traffic to our network. More corridors light up and committed, filled ports strengthen the network's entire wholesale position. They let us bid on bigger carrier flows and sign stronger agreements, including the tier one agreements that carry the deepest rates. Now, because every allocation is capacity committed before the traffic flows, firm forward demand the network can plan around, interconnects are secured, corridors are opened, wholesale carry arranged with certainty. Instead of waiting for the growth to reach the next stage, the accelerator brings the next stage forward, and that is the acceleration component. We will launch with 5 corridors: Mexico, Jamaica, Albania, Colombia, and Pakistan. We will open new corridors in the future as additional bulk inventory is secured, and account holders will hear about those destinations first. Every one of these carried minutes is also fuel for everything else you've heard tonight. More accelerator minutes means more revenue turbine activity, more traffic to lift the margins on, and more revenue for Minutes Network. It means faster hyperscaling discovery, more jingle endpoints found, and a growing share of calls terminating over the higher margin path. The network grows the app lifts the network, and all of it's visible on the Explorer at explorer.minutesnetwork.io. And here's the part for everyone who runs this network with us. More carried volume means more fees earned across the whole network and deep in partner participation. For every operator backing this platform, accelerated traffic runs over the network like any other traffic. Every minute of it appears on the live Explorer for anyone to verify. Deep-in fees are paid on it as normal, and Minutes Network takes its own share of the margin separately as its consideration for arranging this reselling of capacity or for providing the infrastructure when you run it yourself. That share is never inside any margin figure shown to you. What you see is stated net. Nothing about the accelerator bypasses the network's economics, and nothing about it is over or understated. If you are asking what Minutes Network gets from selling capacity rather than holding it all ourselves, the answer is everything I just listed. The traffic, the corridors, the wholesale position, the fees, the hyperscaling, the jingle growth. Notice what this does to the shape of the company, right? Every buyer is verified. The clean counterparty book that stands behind the network's tier one carrier deals. Every order is bound in writing, and every owner earns from the very same carried traffic that grows the network. The accelerator turns its buyers into a distribution channel of owners who want exactly what we want: more minutes in more countries at better rates for everyone holding the ports. And incentives are always aligned by design. Now, let's say the careful part out loud because, we always have to be straight here. This is a telecommunications product. Market rates move, and every rate we show on the Accelerator website is observed market data. It is not a promise of performance. The jingle uplift applies where an endpoint lands in the path. Never guaranteed on a given minute. And that is how a genuine wholesale business operates. And it's exactly why the contract provided with each allocation of capacity and the portal and the Explorer exist. A bigger network makes every port on it busier. Every allocation accelerates the network, and the network accelerates every allocation. So let me say the whole loop all at once. More capacity means more traffic. More traffic means faster hyperscaling. Faster hyperscaling means more Jingle endpoints. More Jingle endpoints mean more higher margin termination opportunities, and that means greater network scale. Greater scale means more demand for capacity, and more demand for capacity means more capacity and more revenue. And around it goes, and it lands exactly where we want it. More revenues at higher margins. The full explainer will be released, covering everything in detail on Wednesday, and the accelerator goes live the day Wednesday, the 19th of August. And this is a public launch from Wednesday. The platform will be available on our official website. Now, a couple more things before we sign off here. Everything that you've heard about tonight is already in motion. And here is the one thing I would like you to take home the most. Growth only gets faster from here. Think about what's running now at the same time. The Packet Exchange opening its doors next month, where every carrier that lists a route or buys one becomes a customer we could never have reached before. The Switch partition, turning those customers into tenants who run their entire business on our rails. The marketplace compounding on its own because every new seller makes it more useful to buyers, and every new buyer makes it more valuable to list on. The agentic AI layer, ready for the day procurement goes agent to agent, and that day's coming fast from what we see. And now the accelerator, driving traditional traffic onto the network in volumes we choose, not volumes we wait for. Every one of those minutes lands in the revenue turbine and comes out blended for maximum quality and margin. Every one of those minutes feeds hyperscaling, discovering the next compatible endpoint, and Jingle launching across 100 plus destinations or countries and climbing toward the 120 plus countries we published in the up and coming vision paper, converting those discoveries into a near zero cost HT termination. And beneath it all, the ground game keeps running, of course, just as we did in Pakistan and in the Middle East. We keep buying licenses, we keep rolling up operators, and every operator folded in makes the next one more valuable and the network more valuable. None of this is a separate bet, okay? They're all one machine. Every part makes every other part faster. More traffic makes better data. Better data makes better routes, and better routes win more traffic. The flywheel does not just spin, it accelerates. The platform is built, the flywheel is already turning, and from today, it will turn even faster. We've never been more excited than we are now because everything's converging at once. And AI is helping us to move even faster than the previous years. The applications in integration are moving extremely fast. We had our last communication with SEW only 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the next one will be in the coming week or so. The applications and influencers landing in Pakistan, in Jamaica, as we speak, the exchange opening its doors, the licenses stacking up, the accelerator switching on. None of this is a roadmap slide. It's all live and or landing this quarter, and then it will be live. And much of it lands this very week. So you will not have to wait to see it. Tomorrow, we'll put out a full accelerator explainer. And on Wednesday, the 19th, the accelerator goes live. Then on Thursday, the 20th, we will publish the technologies and vision paper at 62 pages, the entire scope of what we have built and where it goes in one document. Every technology named, every number stated, all of the details included, how Jingle wins the traffic, how the turbine lifts the margin, how Packet Exchange becomes the venue that the industry trades on, how the licenses own the ground, and how every one of those pieces compounds every other turn after turn. Something lands every single day this week, and that's what the acceleration phase that we are currently in looks like. It is the full map of how our company becomes the largest telecommunications company on earth by user base, set out as plainly as we can write it, written by myself, because we believe the work speaks for itself. If you only ever read one thing we publish, read the vision paper. Read it, share it, and hold us to it. The door is open wherever you are. If you're a carrier, there is a keener rate and a same-day interconnect waiting for you. If you've built an app or building an app, your user base can become a network and it can pay you. If you're a developer, you can buy wholesale capacity directly through a full telecommunications API with middlemen removed. If you're a creator, your audience is infrastructure waiting to happen. And if you run on the legacy stack, we would rather arm you than replace you. One door for all of it, Minutes Network. We are not the biggest network of towers. We will be the biggest network of people. The line is open and we intend to carry every call on it. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your support from the early days until today. Bring everything you want to ask to Friday's AMA and we will answer all of it. Every minute counts. Until next time, have a wonderful day, evening, or night, wherever you are.